The following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Listener or viewer discretion is advised. This podcast episode is for educational purposes. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast does not reflect the views of our employers. Where applicable, any allegations are alleged until proven in a court of law.
Thank you so much for watching this upcoming episode. Please don't forget to like, follow, and share.
Wait, okay. It's okay.
Okay, so we've got... Now you have to forgive me because I didn't pay attention in school, and I'm looking at... I'm like, what number of the V is the 5?
Oh, I didn't either. Yeah, okay, there we go. Right there. That one's paying attention to everything.
Dang it.
That's the A student right there.
Okay. I was a C at best. I ain't gonna lie. Probably because I cut a lot of school.
Same.
I went to
It's
all
probably
the lunch
hereditary.
periods. I was in all the lunch periods having fun. So for Amendment 5, it says, okay, let me up real quick.
And this one's a lot. There's a lot in the fifth.
Okay, it's loaded. It's a loaded one. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, so it says, yes. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment of indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Okay. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. That is a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot in there. There's a lot to unpack. One of the first things I try to tell everybody about the Fifth Amendment is just look at the first three words, right? No person shall. So some people are like, well, only the Constitution applies only to citizens. That's not true. If it says citizen, then it applies to you. But if it says person, it applies to anyone within the jurisdiction of the United States. So that's the key. And so a lot of people get upset about that, but it's like, I didn't write it. It's right here in the Constitution. It says person.
That
All right. So the first bit, no person shall be held to answer for a capital, otherwise infamous crime. So this piece of it has not been applied to the states. That means grand juries need to pull people in for the federal cases. But most of the states have added to their own constitution this same language. So then it does apply to the states, but technically that language is not applicable to the states, and they've changed it around a little bit too. So the other piece of it, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense be twice, right? So double jeopardy. Doesn't now if you're charged in a state case and you're charged in a federal case, that's not double jeopardy because you're on two different roads. So that's good to keep in mind as well. And then life or limb, right? Nor shall be compelled In a criminal case, that's where everyone's like, I plead the fifth, right? Self-incrimination,
Yeah.
nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. This part does not apply to the states. This only applies to the federal government. The 14th Amendment is what applies due process to the states. So this is only the federal government up here with the due process. So that's when we've been talking about you got to have due process. We've been talking about the Fifth Amendment at that federal level with the immigration. So that's important. And then, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. This drives me crazy. So, just compensation, they can still take your stuff. They just have to give you compensation.
Hey,
It's
So
like, I've
that's
been
like
living in this house forever. You're going to take my house? Yep. But here's, 20 grand.
that's like eminent domain or something like that. And then they decide what the value is, but
Yeah. It's pretty awful. It's
side
pretty
eye.
awful.
yeah, we actually have a situation that's actually been on the news. We have a main road kind of close to where I'm at in South
Mhm.
Carolina, and they have been kind of widening this
Mhm.
road. And in order to do that, they have had to take portions of people's front yards, people that have been there for
Yeah.
years, and
Mhm.
they gave them some money. But of course, what you're given um is compensation, but it's probably definitely not worth
Mhm.
what you're losing out. And that was what has been on the news, where that guy got shot, where he was shooting, and the sheriff shot
Wait,
him.
what?
And yeah, yeah, that happened
Okay.
about a week or two ago, in the area. Yeah, he was upset that they were, you know.
Whoa. Okay, sorry. So I live in North Carolina. So
Oh.
we don't have the same news feed.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
what?
so they were compensated, but
Well,
clearly they were unsatisfied.
that's the
Um,
perfect way to put that is that satisfaction element. One of the most frequently brought lawsuit has to do with the oil pipelines that have been going through the states. And they've been going through people's property that they've had in their family for like, three different generations. And they're saying it doesn't matter what you pay us. We don't want you to take our land. This is our land that we've had forever. And then, of course, we have our indigenous population too saying, you can't just take our land. They're like, well, we need it. We're going to take it anywhere. And it works a little different with our indigenous populations because of treaties and such. But it's still that same idea that, well, if we just give you some cash, you should be fine. Meanwhile, like this is their home. They've lived
yeah,
here for a really long time. And like money doesn't matter at that point.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if it's a home that you grew up in, or a home that you really worked hard for, and then someone says exactly what you said earlier, here goes $20,000. And you're like, excuse me?
For
I have
what?
memories here. I had
Right.
raised a family here, and y'all are just.
Wow.
And that's pretty much what
Yeah.
happened. He was like being
Yep.
aggressive with the construction crew is how it actually
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
initiated. He was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, like enough of this already." And he was an older guy too, and I could see that.
Yep.
You've had this property, you worked hard for it. You're older,
Mm-hmm.
you're up in age, you raised your family here. This is the front yard that my
Yeah.
me and my kids played, you know, softball, whatever, whatever it is that you're doing. Like this, and you say, "Here, well, we don't care. We want to
Mm-hmm.
widen this road, and it is what it
Right.
is." And he was like, "I'm old and older. I'm not gonna say old because I'm getting there. Older."
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm over here like this, trying to see.
I got you. I hear that.
But
Wow.
that's kind of what I think. That's kind of what happened in this case.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad.
Yeah.
Especially for like I'm sorry. I think it's sad for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I just have this kind of, maybe because of Agnes, you know,
Our
I just have
grandmother.
this kind of this spot when it comes to older people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like leave them old people alone. Like leave them alone.
Right.
They been at this for a while, yo.
Yeah.
Let them have their peace. Like
Yeah.
y'all can't wait to cut into his yard. I mean, the man was like up there in age. Like, come
Mm-hmm.
on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just my view
I don't
because
think so. I don't think it's
No.
just you. I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot. And there are a lot of lawsuits of people coming in and saying that exact thing. Like, I spent my
yeah,
whole life here and you're taking
right,
it. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It just seems like there's not enough care paid attention to that part of it. Like the state, or they just know we need this because we've got a growing
Mm-hmm.
population, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it.
Right.
We do. But there is, for all this talk about like tradition, and a lot of
Yes.
people in the political world, they speak about things like that, but it's only when
Mm-hmm.
it applies to the state needs, not like the individual need, like this man, this senior citizen here. Like, where is he?
Right.
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
this is part of the Constitution again, and part of the
Yeah.
legal piece that a lot of people just don't know about.
Yeah.
They don't know about the struggles because, like, for them, the Fifth Amendment's like what you say in court, right? And that's it. But this huge piece of it is very important, even though it's the last part of the amendment.
And then also to say, like, that doesn't apply, like, in all cases. Like, the 14th Amendment really is the one that does it. So if you're in a state courtroom, you can't say Fifth Amendment. You're like 14th Amendment. Who would know that?
Right,
But
right.
I was like,
True,
huh,
true.
how about
Mm,
that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Janae, number 6.
It's a big one. This one's a big one too.
Uh-oh.
It's a big one too.
You can do
It's
Okay,
a
it.
loaded one.
let's do
Okay.
it. Okay. So, right to a fair trial. Oh, yeah, this would yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously. I'm sorry, y'all. I read like a 2-year-old because I can't see. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're doing great.
Previously
Fine.
ascertained, ascertained by law and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compuls- compulsory, did I say that all wrong?
Yep. No, you got
No,
it.
you
Process
got it. No, no.
for for obtaining witnesses in his favor and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Like you get an attorney, someone like you shows up.
Right. Right.
Thank you for what you do.
Maybe not me, but so I'll call somebody for you.
There it
You
goes.
know somebody. I got
That's
you.
right.
Sometimes that's all you need, somebody to know somebody,
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So,
as we
right,
can see.
this is where our trial rights come
Okay.
in. The big piece, of course, in a criminal prosecution, we say you've got a right to a jury. So if it's a criminal case, you have a right to a jury, and a public and speedy. So we kind of talked a little bit about the speedy pieces that we had before in Georgia. Speedy is defined by your location. Sometimes it's 90 days, sometimes it's 120 days. There were a certain kind of waiver that was put into place during COVID because we couldn't get all of the juries in order to do that. So speedy changed a little bit during that period of time. And you can waive speedy. And a lot of people do that. So if you're not in jail, you're like, whatever, we'll get it done when we get it done. But if you're in jail and there's no possibility of getting out, it's like, dude, 3 months is forever. I want out. Give me my trial. So that's the speedy piece by an impartial jury of the state. That one's very controversial. That's controversial because of who is our jury, right? Who are the people that make up the jury? And the problem is, of course, women and any person of color were not allowed to sit on juries for a very, very long time. It actually wasn't until the 90s officially that it was illegal to discriminate by pulling women off of juries, because a lot of times that would happen is that they would just go through and say no, 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 and the judge would say, is it because she's a woman? And the attorney would be like, no, and then out they go. So we actually had case law coming down from the Supreme Court that says you can't do that. And same with people of color with those kinds of strikes, the Batson v. Kentucky case. So it's only really been recent that any person of color or woman has actually had that right to sit on that jury and not be tossed. So that's a huge piece when it comes to making sure that everybody gets a fair jury. So the jury piece is in there. And then we've got informal or nature, right? You need to be told what you're being accused of, confronting witnesses. So having the right, the subpoena power. So it shouldn't matter who the defendant is. Everybody has subpoena power to pull in witnesses against them. That's huge. That's really, really huge historically as well. And then down here, assistance of counsel. Here's the deal with the assistance of counsel, though, everybody. This kind of drives me a bit bonkers. So that right wasn't incorporated until 1964 to the states, and it was through the Gideon case, very famous case. And after that, they said, yes, you can have court-appointed counsel, but you have to be as poor as we want you to be. So our level of how indigent you are is going to be pretty gosh down low, pretty low, really low. And some people, if you're working part-time at McDonald's, literally, and I'm not bashing McDonald's at all, but part-time at McDonald's, you're making too much to have a court-appointed attorney. Yes. And even for some people where they're like, Medicaid, I'm disabled, I've got all of these other things going on, but technically their Social Security disability is enough where they don't qualify to have court appointed counsel. And then in other states, even if you do qualify, you have to pay them back if you lose. If you lose your case, you're standing up and counsel fees are included in your fines and you have to pay them back. Now it's a discounted rate, but you still have to pay them back. So this idea of having an attorney appointed, it's great. And when we say it in Miranda, that's great too. But the realities of it are still pushing down on a lot of the communities that have some serious financial problems.
Wow.
Wow.
Boy, I feel like I keep bumming you guys out. Sorry.
Dude, it's like, I don't know. The fact that if you working part-time at McDonald's wouldn't qualify you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy. That's crazy talk.
I think it's like right now you have to be below 15,000 a year. And in my state is where that level's at. So I mean it's low. It's super low.
I mean, that's not even enough to make a decent living anywhere. Like that. How do you wow. And then
Yeah.
so if you get a court appointed attorney, then you have to pay restitution to the court.
Most places. Now, I don't think every state does that, but the states that are in my jurisdiction all do that. Now, again, it's a discounted rate, but still, you got no money, you got no money. And one of the other things that we put into place in my state and that other states do as well is that even if you can barely afford an attorney, if jail is on the table or prison is on the table, then you have to have an attorney. So even though you may not quite qualify that low, if there's a loss of freedom at play, they will make some kind of exceptions to bring an attorney in.
What happens if you can't pay them back? Do they try to jail you at that point? Because like, well, you can't
Yes.
pay us back. So you're going to
Right.
go to
Yeah, it's contempt.
Whoa.
It's contempt. You can get up to 30 days in jail. And then when you get out, you have no job because you've been in jail for 30 days. And then they're like, your fines haven't changed. They've just grown. And so they're like, I can't pay. So then you go in for another 30 days. And it goes on and on and on, so that eventually, I mean, there's like no hope. There's no way of crawling out of the damage. And that's absolutely one of the biggest problems in our criminal justice system, is this whole idea of trying to, I guess a lot of people call it debtor's prison, because you're in the debt, you keep going back into jail, so there's no way for you to ever climb out of the debt.
Mm.
It's awful. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
There's no other way. There's no other way to describe that. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what happened? Like, even if you were like unjustly accused, and I mean, because then what?
We
Then
see.
just SOL?
Pretty much. And also that
Wow.
contempt hearing is not necessarily seen as a criminal case. It's kind of like a quasi criminal case. And so you may wind up having to represent yourself, because only in a criminal case can you be appointed an attorney. So depending on how that contempt hearing is categorized, if it is civil versus criminal, if it's civil, you're going to have to represent yourself and try to get out of it.
But then you'd have, but in front of a judge, not in, you couldn't even go in front of a jury. It would have to be the judge would decide.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow. Talk
Yeah.
about stepping on you while you're down.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Stomping
pretty
on
How
bad.
do
you.
you get out of that? Like you never.
It's so incredibly difficult to get out of it. And I remember one time when I was a prosecutor for several years, and then I was like, this sucks, so I'm not doing this. But there was a woman, and she had an OWI. She had it was her first one. She'd done the time, she did her classes, but she hadn't paid the fines. So she came in on a contempt order, and what you do is you come in, you talk to the prosecutor, you try to make a deal on your contempt case. But if you're not entitled to counsel, you're sitting there across the table from me, and like, I know what the law is, and I can kind of do whatever I need to do to get whatever it is my boss wants, right? So
Yeah.
this woman in particular came in, and she's like, I just don't have any money. She was caught in the cycle. She's like, I just got out. He gave me 14 days last time. I just got out. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I said to her, I'm like, you have to pay something. And she's like, I have no money. And I said, I'm like, check your pockets. And she had like 12 cents. And I walked her over to the clerk of court, and I'm like, 12 cents, put it down. She's got another 30 days before she needs to come back. And the clerk was like, 12 cents, get out of here. And I'm like, I'm trying. So yeah, but I
Take
mean,
that 12 cents.
those moments though, you've got to get,
Wow.
an attorney in there with a heart that can kind of help you through that. But there's
Wow.
not that many out there that'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a dark day for me. It was a rough one.
Dude, you bought her 30 days though, that 12 cents.
That's right. 12 cents, 30 days.
Because had it been like a different attorney, would they have?
She would have been
Mm.
arrested probably on the spot.
Mm.
They would have called down for a deputy, and they would have taken her back in again.
Wow.
It's so
Mm.
sad.
It really is. It really
Yeah.
is.
That's
And
a
that's the part of the indigent or very, very low income process that people don't see. And that's one thing too. And when people are like, oh, it's a two-tiered system, I'm like, you're right. It's for the rich people and the poor people. And those tiers are very, very obvious when you're working in the system. And it's heartbreaking.
it becomes like it's a crime to be poor.
Exactly.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
well, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
dude,
sorry. I know,
where is the
sorry.
rum?
Yeah. I'm gonna have
Where-
another
Where?
one.
I'm gonna need to take a real sip when we finish.
Seriously.
Initially,
You're not going to even ask me back again. You're like, no, she's too
No,
depressing.
we want
We'll
you to come
definitely
back
have
so
you
we can go
back.
to part 2.
I'm just saying, like, listen, I'll be honest. This is
Wow,
how that
was-
went for me. It went 90s. And so
Mhm.
when you said 90s, I was already like, oh, that's really not that long ago, right? So that I was stuck there. And then when you kept talking, I was like, oh, it's worse. Oh,
No, that's just the start.
oh.
Sorry.
And then it gets worse.
The little guy, right? Like, dang.
Oh my gosh.
some
Oh,
more?
that's bad.
Jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
You're
this kind of
right.
information is not what you learn when you go into school and they teach you about the cops. I mean, they don't
No.
teach this to people, and you only learn it by actually being in the system and going through the process. So I think a lot of people just don't understand how detrimental it can really be. Don't get me wrong, I love being a lawyer and I love doing my job, but I also like to shine a little light on this bullshit that we have to deal with as
Okay.
well.
To
Mhm.
put it plainly.
That's right.
Whoa. Yeah, that was striking, Janine. You're right, because you said the 90s. I was like, huh. It went downhill, and then I got stuck on downhill. She's stuck on the 90s.
Sorry.
Wow.
You think the 90s is bad. Wait till you hear this.
That's
That's
right.
a
And we didn't
vicious cycle. That's
we
not
didn't even have the Second Amendment in the 90s. We didn't even have that. I mean,
That's right. You said in
what?
2008. That's when it was.
2008.
Yeah.
Jeez. Man. Is it going to get more depressing after this?
Let me check. Maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I might need to
haven't
go
even-
get that stiffer ones.
Those are the
Girl.
big ones. We've hit the big
Okay.
ones. So it's just
I'm
a
just
little
gonna head and
bit.
finish that bottle up.
Okay.
Oh my
Dude.
gosh. Yeah.
Okay, Lord.
I never get called back. I'm just gonna let you know.
Wait, what do you mean?
Really?
So,
What?
like, that's such a bummer.
Oh no. No.
Oh.
No, we were like, well, maybe we can come back for part 2, but we could start.
Yes.
We was thinking it.
We
We
were
absolutely
thinking
was.
it.
We was like, we don't want to overdo it. You know how
Yeah.
old people
Yes.
say we don't want to overstay our welcome. You know
We
what
were
I'm saying? We
grateful.
just want-
Yeah, well, and then I can think of some more positive stories. Maybe
Okay.
it's gonna take me some time to think about it.
She's like, this is very, very
Oh, woo!
tragic.
pull out the good liquor for this one. I'm sorry. That's like
Mhm. Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm sorry. That was awful. You're gonna have
Lord.
to edit that part out. I'm so
A
sorry.
little bit. Might do a little editing. We try to keep it organic, and but I think we might want to do this as a twofer, like split it up, so that way we really want people to digest what it is that we're saying, because and what you're like bringing to the table, because I think
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
It's a
important.
lot. It's a lot. That was that's the other thing too, is I was thinking myself too that all 10's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot, but it's up to you. I'd be happy to come back.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling okay, but I feel like I bummed everybody out now.
Oh
I'm
no.
like,
No, we good.
No,
We're-
we're okay. We're
Trust
okay.
me.
I'm like, I won't tell you about the 18th Amendment then. We'll skip that one.
Okay. Is that like crying into our soups?
It's when they take the alcohol away.
Oh no.
It's
That's
what?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. The prohibition.
Yeah, those are some dark days.
Oh,
Girl,
don't
that
know.
must make my rib hurt. And I'm on here talking about having a drink.
I'm
like,
just
which
glad
one is
we
that?
can.
Whoever thought of that one?
Yeah, yeah.
They
And that
suck.
was before we had the
sorry.
right to vote too. Like, that
Can
was
you
more important
imagine?
than voting.
That's bonkers. I mean, I guess what was happening around that time would be the question. Like, what was happening in that time to make people feel like it was necessary?
Mhm, mhm.
But I don't know, because hey, I cut a lot of school
Samesies, yeah.
during history, particularly. Okay, so wait, Janine, you want to do 7?
She's like, I'm
Yep.
not sure.
I'm looking at these. Me and my delayed reaction, right? I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So hold up here. A criminal prosecution offender shall enjoy the rights to a speedy public. Okay. So it would be rights in civil cases. Correct. Okay.
Yes.
So okay, in suits at common law was the value in controversy shall exceed $20. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of United States than according to the rules of the common law. What? Sorry.
It's
Exactly.
1791 speak.
Exactly. So, right. So the Seventh Amendment does not apply to the states yet. It only applies to the federal government. And it's basically just giving out a jurisdiction, saying that when the lower courts go through the process, the fact finders, we're going to leave that stuff alone. Unless we've got common law, which is case law that sets out you can have a couple more steps in the process. But here they're saying if it's a certain amount or above, you can have a jury. And then also whether or not the courts can come back in for other reasons. So that's really it. We don't use this one a lot, although technically in this administration, I've seen it a couple times because this administration sucks. So
Can we
we've
all
got, we
tip
do
on
have
that?
yeah, exactly. The big piece to it again is whether or not you can have a jury for a civil case and jurisdiction.
Hmm. And then, okay, so for the Eighth Amendment, it
Hmm.
is okay. So excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Is that like after sentencing? It's kind of like what's happening with Mr. in the New York case.
Abrego Garcia,
Oh, darn it.
are
Oh,
you?
really? Okay. His too. Okay. Well, is he applied for asylum, right? So, like,
Yeah. Some people were saying though that it was cruel and unusual for anyone to be over in El Salvador. So
I agree.
that's one of the pieces, and it's not the strongest piece, but it's definitely there. Who were you talking about?
Mr. T. Rump,
Oh yeah,
who's
yeah.
the
Okay.
excessive fines. Is
Yes.
that does that fall under the is that under the Eighth Amendment?
Yeah. Even
Okay.
though it was a civil case, those kinds of fines can be looked at through that lens,
Okay.
for sure. Now, the Eighth Amendment, again, excessive bail, that's been a question that's been answered, so that's been applied to the states. But the second piece of it that says nor excessive fines imposed. Now, excessive fines were not incorporated to the states until 2019. So in 2019, we had a case out of Nebraska, I believe. Nebraska and Kansas, I get them mixed up. But anyway, the case was this guy, he was like a drug dealer person. He got pulled in. Maximum amount of fines for him was $10,000, all right, for what he did. He wasn't going to prison or anything. He was like small potatoes. But they took his vehicle. They seized his vehicle and they said this was used when you were criming, so we're going to take this now. And what had happened was it was a vehicle he had bought with the money from his dad passing away. So it was like a $50,000 vehicle, really nice vehicle. And the issue was, wait a minute, 10,000 fines is the max you can give me for this crime. And you just took a $50,000 vehicle from me. And so that was the case where the Supreme Court came in. It was Justice Ginsburg, one of her last decisions, and
Wow.
said that we are now incorporating those excessive fines to the states. That was too much. Give him the vehicle back. He's paid his maximum amount. He's done his time, but you cannot just pull in property worth that much money and keep it, because that would be a violation of the Eighth Amendment.
Wow.
Hmm. Yep.
And you said 2019, huh?
Hmm.
Girl,
Hmm.
you and these dates.
I mean, it really does give you perspective because going back to what you said when we first hopped on. It was like we think it's one way,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
right.
in many cases it's not. I can't.
It's not.
2019.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean it's very interesting how long everything takes in the legal system. And now that people are really looking into the legal system more, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it takes forever." Meanwhile, I'm like, "This is going quick. This is the fastest I've ever seen. My goodness." So, I
Oh
think that
wow.
reality check though is helpful for people to kind of get a better idea of how things work.
100%. Whoa, that was a lot.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's a lot.
2009, 2019.
I know, right? Yeah, true.
I had
Yeah.
so with this was the thing, and I pinned. And please forgive me if I there's a lack of knowledge in making me ask this question, but like the with these amendments and certain things not going to the states, how does it apply when it comes to the like native lands? Because like how does that apply? Are they only protected under federal
So they
laws
have
or
That's such a great question. They have their own road to go down. They have basically
Mm.
their own set of laws, their own treaties, and those and the way that they go down each of those legal paths. Now, if something crosses over, like for example, there was a case where an indigenous girl, she's like 12 years old, and the indigenous dad was like, I don't want to get her social security number because that's against my religion. And then the Supreme Court's like, I'm sorry, but she needs a social security number. So we have those kinds of questions that can come in and out. But the number one issue with our indigenous people are water rights. That's what
Mm.
we fight over constantly. And again, it's basically these treaty laws versus whatever it is that the Supreme Court's going to try to throw at them. So they're just a
Wow.
unique creature in our legal system.
That's a whole nother layer. I like that there was that case out of I forget from the 1920s about the water rights in California, right? Where
Mhm.
and then the oil, oh my gosh, I can't remember it, but some guy married into a native family and then basically stole all the oil rights.
Ugh.
That oh my gosh, and that's based on a true story. And there's a whole movie about
Mhm.
it. And I was like, this is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's
Um
pretty awful. And
yeah.
even right now with the executive orders that have come out, there are two that are hitting the indigenous population really hard, especially the Department of Education, because the Department of Education oversees the Native education studies. So they're getting all tangled up too. They're like, wow, you just fired everyone off of our reservation here. That's not okay. What are we supposed to do at this point? So they're even getting involved in this as well, getting pulled into these cases. And that's one thing too about the alligator Alcatraz is that it was our indigenous people who were like, you're out of line over here and brought the lawsuit.
Wow. Okay, I didn't
Mm.
know that. Oh wow. Okay. Whoa.
I cannot thank you enough.
Yeah.
I like genuinely, and the fact that
Aw,
you're willing to come back
you
and
bet. With more positive stories.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
like yeah, it's like I cannot express it enough, before you had came online, I was already saying to T the that knowing is the true investment here, because the only way we can, and I don't even want to say safe, because safe is definitely not what we're feeling, what I'm feeling. I'm not gonna say we. Um, but be having that knowledge is the only true way we're gonna be able to fight back.
Hmm.
And so and know when somebody is doing something wrong. That's the other thing that we discussed as well, because
Mhm.
I was in law enforcement for a little while, and I didn't learn until I got in law enforcement that a lot of things that were done to me along the way was absolutely wrong. And it
Mhm.
was absolutely a violation, but because I didn't know, they were able to move however they wanted to move. So I really do wholeheartedly appreciate the fact that you are here and willing to break it down, and not just joining us here, but in general, that's what you do on your
Yeah.
platform, is that you take the time to break things down in a level that we can actually grasp. And we might have to have a drink afterwards, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Um, because
Maybe two.
And no tang,
um,
the good stuff.
right? Like, dang, I didn't want after that was a lot. How that little
All
boy
right.
said, that was a
It
lot.
it
Um,
was.
but genuinely, I appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate you being who you are, and um willing to be here with us and taking time with us. I thank you. We thank you
Oh,
Yeah.
you're so
very, very,
sweet.
We
very
feel
much.
really lucky.
I
Yes, that's how
appreciate
I feel. Like, girl, yes, I am learning. Learn me something, because I'm
I love it. I love it. I For me, honestly, one of the hardest things is I don't know what other people don't know. So I just kind of guess and I'm like, yeah, do you know this? No, no. And then it's like, let's fill some holes in here. We
Yeah.
got to take care of business. But I'm so thankful to be able to talk to people who are interested in this and kind of clarify things, because I think, and what you're saying earlier, how to save, but for me, I also look at it as protection. Like, this is how you can protect yourself against what's going on out there. So that's very important right now, especially.
Yeah. Agreed. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you decided to say yes. I can't tell you what I said. Oh my god, I'll try not to geek it out, and I'll try to be as professional as I can. I really meant it, because I
Oh,
do think.
you've been great.
Oh, thank you. But the work that you do is really, really important. So I hope that like our listeners can see what we see and start following you and really start listening. So when things are serious or we need to run for those bunkers or not.
Right, right.
But definitely, we want you to come back. So we will put a pin in our conversation for now, and then we will come back for the 9 and 10, which is going to be some doozies. So that means you
Yeah.
guys, get ready, get your tea, get your
Yeah.
water, do all the things.
hmm
So, and get ready for the next segment when it comes to the Bill of Rights, 9 and 10.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
thank
Di. We
you
really
so
appreciate it.
much. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for parts 1 and part 2 of this very special segment where Attorney Di was able to join us and talk to us about the Constitution, how much we know or think we know and really don't know.
Did you see?
Now this episode was very important because the Constitution is something that extends what we think are rights to all of us. But spending this time with Attorney Di has let us know how much we know and how much we really don't know about the Constitution and the history of it and what rights we actually do have.
That part, right? It was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Really? So it was definitely very, very informative. I can't
Mm.
wait to she comes back to knock out some more of those parts of the Constitution, because we have 9 and 10 coming up, right?
Yes. So she's going to come back
Okay.
for certain for 9 and 10. And she says that they're doozies. So I'm happy because, we spent so much time with her and it flew by. We thought we'd have more time to cover all of the Bill of Rights. And there was just not enough time to be able to do that. And that's why we broke this up into 2 parts, because learning all of this is a lot. It's a lot of information.
Yes.
A lot of information and valuable information, and she explained it in a way that made it so it was easy to understand, and not because legal jargon is legal jargon, and it's not always so clear and
Right.
concise. But the fact that she's an attorney, she can break it down in a way of like, you think it's this way but it ain't.
Right? And it was so informative, and I was so into what it was she was teaching us and explaining to us, that I didn't even realize the time was. I was like, oh my gosh, really? I can't even believe we have really been discussing this um for the amount of period that we have been discussing it. It's like, I was like, oh my God, look at the time. And I was still ready. Like, if I was still ready for her to continue on. But
Same.
for the sake of right. I was still into it. I was like, girl, we're ending? No. No, not yet.
We're not ready.
I'm still learning, girls. Learn me something. I'm not done.
Okay.
But the fact that she said she would come back and really explain some more, I'm so excited about that. I really can't wait. I'm like, yo, I mean, not trying to act like a stalker or like your biggest fan, but when we gonna get on that? When we gonna do that?
I was thinking the
I'm
same,
excited.
but so what we do ask is that you guys have some patience. There's circumstances that we won't share here because it's not our place to, but there are circumstances that surround timing of it. So please, please, please be patient, because she has agreed to come back. And after following her for as long as I feel pretty confident that she will. She is a natural born educator. I think that she did teach at some point, but I can tell you hands down, like that, like this is her calling, educating people on the law. So it's a beautiful thing it's a beautiful thing to see. Like, she does it so fluidly. I'm like, and she keeps us, like, she kept us engaged. We were like, wait, what? Throughout. And I think, like, is there anything that like stuck out to you? Like, she's going to come back. We're going to talk about this more. And this would be a great opportunity. So if anyone has a question and you've just finished watching parts 1 and 2, please comment. So by the time she comes back, hopefully by the time this episode's released, you guys will have enough questions. But when she comes back, would be something that we can ask her when she's with us. So timing is a thing. So we don't have a date for release for this just yet, but it's a question I feel confident that we can ask her at any point, whether if it's through the episode or maybe just like a follow-up blurb.
If they ask their questions now, by the time we get into which is, even though it'll be the third
It might be
episode with her, right? It'll be the third episode with her. By the time we get to that third episode with her, we'll have time. We'll have those questions already kind of written down, and then we can ask her. And who knows? Who knows? It might be a point where we could actually do a live and she could answer those questions. But that's neither here or there just yet. We're already begging. We don't want to overdo it.
True. We're like, okay, whenever you're ready.
Tread lightly. Don't do too much. So Yeah, by the time we get ready to release or record that episode, hopefully all of those questions we can actually have the opportunity to ask and get them out of the way. And, you know, because I appreciate her. You know,
Mhm.
I keep saying that she's dope, right? But she is. She's
She
dope.
really is.
Um and she really does break it down, and she really does put it into a terminology that we can all kind of understand and relate to. And she
Mhm.
really knows her stuff. Like I'm like, what? 19 what? And like off
You
the
know?
top, like right, she knows her stuff. And I really enjoy talking to people, um and they really know they stuff. Like they know it's so good that when you finish, you're like, oh, look at that. You know?
Yes,
That's how I was
absolutely.
feeling. Um,
Is there anything, and sorry that I went down the rabbit hole. Is there
it's
anything
okay.
that comes to you that like really stuck out? Um,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. That key part, that first initial comment that she made in the first part, when she said that we think we have certain rights that we do not actually have, right? And when she broke it down, where she was talking about federal and state, how we think we have freedom of speech, or we think we have the right to a speedy trial, and we think we have these things, and then to realize, wait a minute, let me explain. That part is definitely something that I took to heart. And I feel like that's things that we have to do our homework on. Like she said, you have to know the federal and state laws, which, when she started talking about it, it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? I do remember from when I was in law enforcement, right? You have your local ordinances, and
Mhm.
then you have your state laws, and then you have your federal laws. And um until she started talking about it, I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? I do remember that. But vaguely, because I just remember what I need to remember to pass. And
Oh,
because and because I'm not in law enforcement anymore, I don't know. I
I-
think maybe I just disconnected from it, so
like
to
out of
speak.
sight, out of mind type thing.
Right.
And
Um,
mm,
yeah, but that really did kind of stick out to me. The fact that, like, we think we have a little bit more than maybe we actually do have.
yeah, and it's funny because there was a few things that I was kind of like, yo, that's why. And I don't remember fully if we talked about it, like even like with the Second Amendment, as far as it not being, I think it's the Supreme Court not sending it to all the states. Like that Second Amendment, was it? Did she say? I think it was 2008. I hope that's right. She said 2008 is when it actually went to the states and it became a states' right, not just a federal right. So I'm like, all these years, people were walking around saying pre 2008, Second Amendment, wrong.
Yep.
You did
Yeah.
not have that
Yeah.
right until
Eh,
2008, which was shocking to me because it's not even 2008, 2018, 20 years. It's about 20 years. And I think when she was saying how well, what I gathered was, that it went to the states not too long ago, about 20 years, right? That's probably why it's harder for things to change when it comes to laws in that respect, because it's still considered it's a new law as it pertains to the states, and it hasn't been challenged. I don't know if I'm saying it right, and how it's not been challenged throughout the years, and it's only been 20 years roughly. Like
Right.
that's shocking.
Right.
I didn't know that. And it feels even more important now when you consider, even when we're at the time of us recording it, just this week. there was another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was another tragic event. I'm not really for sure if we're gonna talk about that. Um, yeah. Eh,
Mm.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear like that would be the reasoning why it's so hard for things to change, because it's still it's a newer law to the states, which is surprising. And I think it was at the Eighth Amendment or the seventh one, which allowed for the people who were picking the jury, the attorneys who were picking the jury, to stop. What's the word?
Being biased.
Yes, thank you. Being biased against women and people of color in the jury pool. That was, what'd she say, 2019 or 2009? Too soon.
I don't remember 2009.
Okay.
And 2019, I'm pretty sure that's the one uh with the unjust no, within reason fines or
Oh, the excess bail. Okay, the Eighth
yeah,
Amendment. Okay.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
I forget which one that was. It might have been 2009. Because I remember thinking to myself, man, that was like I served on my first jury pool around in the early 2000s. And I was thinking, wow, that was why did they pick me? Why did they even pick me? Because they could have easily have excluded me being a woman and a woman of color.
Yep.
Um, I do apologize for going down that rabbit
No,
hole.
you're fine.
It just makes me so angry. It just is maddening. But it has been quite an educational experience, and realizing how much we actually don't know, and not just us. I mean, the vast majority of the public,
Mhm.
how much we don't know when it comes to our constitutional rights and how it ties in with the actual legal system, because it's
Right.
not as simple as we think.
Right.
Um, but we are super appreciative that Attorney Di joined us, and you guys can catch her too. You will probably catch me in those lives because I am a repeat watcher. And she is on TikTok. So I think it's attorney_die. And there might be a little bit, some variables within that. She goes live on TikTok. Now, we don't know where TikTok's going to be in another couple of weeks. So make sure you follow her on YouTube, because she also goes lives on YouTube. And then she posts videos about this and then all of the tons of legal challenges that are happening right now. And if you ever want to ask her a legal question, you can go ahead and comment, and she'll answer as best as she can. But she's phenomenal. We're so grateful that she joined us for this segment and that she's agreeing to come back. We feel pretty lucky.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited. I can't wait for um just for not just for her to come back and discuss all of these great things and not so great things.
She said it
But
gets better.
esta- establishing um that relationship,
Mhm.
that's really dope. I
Yeah.
can't thank her enough.
Absolutely. So, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for part 1 and part 2 of this unnamed title, because we don't know it just yet. Thank you again. We appreciate you guys sticking with us, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes.
As always, thank you so much, our ousters, our day one ousters, our new ousters. Welcome to the team. Time is something that you can't get back. And the fact that you spent your time with us like you do, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please don't forget to like, follow, and share.